Hello and welcome back to our kitchen. For this episode of the Geek Recipe, we have a very special guest, Marc Espinola Berestein from lead animator of Lab42. Marc?
Hello.
Hello! All right, so thanks for coming.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm really looking forward to this.
We are going to discuss a very interesting topic, which I don't know anything about.
Okay.
So you're going to lead me through this, right?
Perfect.
Okay. Before we get to that, what we are going to cook today, we are going to cook stuffed pepperoni.
Okay.
Okay. Pepperoni, Italian pepperoni, not pepperoni as the Americans say. So peppers.
Perfect.
This is a recipe that every family in Italy will do in a different way. Okay. So we'll do it in Andrea way today.
Okay.
Okay. Good stuff. So we have a vegetarian version of it.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, you were saying that in Spain you do it?
Yes, in the north there's a version with the smaller peppers that you do it with minced meat.
Okay.
So you stuff them with minced meat and then you put them in the oven. I don't know how we cook
We
this
will
one.
do this in the oven.
Okay,
yes.
perfect.
Yes. Okay, cool. So to start discussing the topic of animation,
Yes.
right? So you're working for a company that does, and we'll see it in the background here, a lot of different projects.
Yes.
So how does it work?
So for us and to work in Sumo and Lab42, you need to be a special kind of animator.
Okay.
I mean, I would say for every company, you need to be a special kind of animator. There's the right company for you. Some animators like them, and 3D artists, any kind of artist, you like to be all very specific. Like you could be, like for instance, working in Rockstar. I know people because he's there in the UK. That they animate only humans, and you love animating humans, or you love working with mocap, or you love working with animals, and they only animate animals.
Okay.
And then in Lab42, for instance, you need to do a little bit of everything. So maybe you like that. You don't like working always in the same kind of stuff, and you want to try new things. You like working now with animals, now with cartoony style, now with motion capture. So that's, if you like that kind of work, Lab42 is for you.
So tell me about this, because it's very interesting. So it's a very different job to animate a human, an animal, and such, or is it just similar but you have to specialize?
Yes, you could specialize. So it's like any kind of art. So if you do something a lot, you can become like the best at it. So there are some people, some animators that they specialize and they work for years only animating animals, and you can be an excellent animal animator. And if we need someone to animate those animals very, very well, we're gonna call you. Okay. Or you could do a little bit of everything, but that's the trade-off. If you are really good at animating animals, you are not as good as animating other things.
Okay.
So that's
but it's the same thing, but a specialization, I would say.
Yes, and in the end, it's the same for 3D art and any other kind of art. Maybe you are really good at creating super AAA high fidelity characters, like humanoids, or you are good at doing a lot of things, or objects. There are people who specialize in environment art, etc., etc. It's very wide in the end. It's endless. It's impossible to be good at everything.
Okay, And you know, we're seeing on the background here the variety of things you do is huge. And we were also saying earlier on about the difference between mocap and sort of hand animation.
Yes, hand kit.
Okay.
Because you place the keys there in the animation.
Okay. Can you just go through a bit of the differences between the two systems and?
So
simple, but it's easy to explain, is it?
I think people are used to motion capture now. Most people know what it is because they've seen it in movies as well. If they've seen the making of the, I don't know, the Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit or any kind of movie, they've seen the people wearing suits and in big studios, or even animals, which is fake anyway. I don't know if you've seen the game Stray. There's the little cat. That's being hand-kit animated, but you can see some galleries of actual cats wearing. Yes, I'm a cat passionate. That's why I brought my little cat apron this time. And you can see some motion capture even from animals, as I was saying. But yeah, it's a full studio. The setup is very technical, and it's very similar to shooting like this in real life, which is a very intense, very long sessions of shooting with very talented actors that they need to be very good at knowing many different styles. Many times it's just the same person, like doing many different characters. So they tell you, you are a very old person, or you are very young, you're very active, you are a monster, and you need to quickly change and switch. So there's a lot of talent involved, a lot of time, long shooting sessions, and organizing and planning, of course. Well, then you need to clean up, of course. The result that comes from there is not perfect, so you require some animator later to put in the computer and then to clean and make sure it works for the game. Or maybe even exaggerate it, because you get maybe a very, very realistic human movement and you want some exaggeration. So you do that later in the computer. The animator does that.
So what are the current you've been doing this for a long time. How does technical limitation influence what you do? Is it something that you have to face every day, like, oh, I can't do this because, there's not enough power, or there's not enough, time or money?
Yes, time equal money anyway. Is it enough?
Yeah, I think it's good.
Okay. Well, I finished this one that I started. So time is equal money, of course, that's like a life limitation, but technically, for technical limitations, I would say animation is one of the least compromised arts. When it comes to technical limitations. You may suffer, especially nowadays, you may suffer some limitation when it comes to rigging. So rigging is the skeleton under the character that helps it move. Maybe you may have a bone limit because there are many moving parts, but that's a thing from the past that doesn't happen anymore. Now the newest PlayStations, the newest PCs, they can handle hundreds of thousands of bones. They don't have any issues. And there are many systems. So I would say of the arts is one of the least influenced by technical. Well, if you do 3D modeling or stuff like that, you do have to keep it in mind. But it's becoming less and less important, actually. There's a new technology now called nanite, for instance, that you see that in Unreal 5 in the engine. That allows you to have as many triangles as you want. Because otherwise, if you have too many triangles, the computer, whatever you're playing on, may suffer and may struggle. But with this technology, you can have as many as one. It's like magic. It's impressive. Right now, it only works with solid objects, so with stuff like this. But with things like for animation that you bend the arm and you have all these not stiff parts, it doesn't work. So let's see how things are like really advancing and going forward, that the limitations of the past, they are not a thing anymore. And every year is like something, you see games 10 years ago and games now, every keep going forward and forward and forward and making our lives easier.
Of course, I mean, how is it? Because, one thing I keep saying is that, our form of, our projects in general are, the only, perfect mix between art and technology, right? And trying to put these together and create an entertainment product or a form of art or whatever is really the challenging part. How much do you think that you are constrained in expressing the art with, by the technology? Or is it more like, you're really focusing on delivering, the goal, which is the animation or, or the expression? Or
I would say what really constrains artists, especially in commercial industries like video games, and you're not an independent artist or independent an indie developer, I would say it's more the product itself. But it happens with everything. It's like cinema or TV, anything. It's like there's a target, there's an idea, and there's a concept that you need to sort of follow. So that's, I would say, the biggest limitation that you may have. And some studios allow more freedom, or some projects allow more freedom, or some projects allow less freedom, because it depends. Maybe we're following a very well-known brand like Call of Duty, and we have a very established look, and or it's a brand new game, go crazy, try different things. So that's, I would say, the big challenge there.
And when you see, we're saying Stray is a good example, or probably you have worked on something like this, which is heavily relying on animation and how that, the animation conveys the, the feeling of gameplay. Do you feel like more empowered of doing something, or is it more, you don't really have time for that?
No, I would say in the game industry, and you've seen this already in other episodes, or in cinema, etc., it's a very team effort.
Yeah.
So even if there's more reliance on coding or UI or animation, it's all part of the big team. So the animations wouldn't mean anything if there's not a coder behind that, making sure that they work the right way, or there's no beautiful model that someone done with the reality. So in the end, even if it's more or less important, it's all part of the team. So that's what.
I'll ask you to cut a little bit of cheese in small pieces. This is fresh scamorza. So, Spanish guy, live in UK. How did you chase your current role? Did you look for it? Because one thing you said to me earlier on, which I found fascinating, is that a lot of people don't really know that they can do this job, right? Yeah. So can you tell us a bit more about that? Because I find it fascinating. It's a technical job, it's an artistic job, but people don't really know much about it.
The game industry, we could say, is quite young compared to other industries. Well, if you think about it, cinema, for instance, is being around, 120 years, so it's not that old, it's not like books. So the games is being even more recent, so games are becoming very popular, or they are already very popular, depending who you ask. And people don't know they can actually work making those things, whatever it is. Maybe they like the stories and they want to write stories. Maybe they like the animation, maybe they like the characters. And unfortunately, especially children at the beginning, you don't even know that you can actually work doing that. So sometimes we go to schools, especially, around 10 years old, 11 years old children, and we show them what we do in a very simple way. And we go coders, we go designers, animation, any kind of art. And we teach them, look, you can actually do this, it works this way, involves doing this, involves doing that. And they, just to open and to raise awareness that you can actually do it if you like it, it's possible. But I have to say, as you said, someone from Spain, in the UK, etc., is, especially in the art world, is very tough, it's very hard. There's lots of competition, there's lots of people who want to do the same thing as you do. But I would say the real trick is perseverating, and the people who actually make it into the industry is people who are really passionate and keep trying, and you can be let down by failures or being rejected, and keep trying, being truly passionate, and eventually you make it into the industry. But it's tough, it's hard. Many students, they graduate, they struggle to find a job. So it's not easy, but if you truly want, you can, and you will.
Do you think that you're missing talent, or is it easy to find these days? I mean, there's a recurring, I would say a joke, but it's, a recurring need, for instance, that currently the most difficult roles to fill are like the technical artists and the people who are good at both the artistic part and the technical part, right?
So I would say if you're looking for something very specific, it can be really hard. Which is usually the case. So if you hear that, it's because they are looking for something very specific and you struggle to find it. Then if you're looking for something more open, like we just need someone who knows a little bit of 2D, whatever, you can find it easier. But then that's what it echoes a lot in the industry. Want someone who knows a specific engine or has experience with virtual reality and knows about animation, and that's when it starts getting trickier and trickier. Because no one, as I said before, it's impossible to be good at everything. Or you take the risk and you try someone, I never done that, but I can start learning, or you struggle to find.
When you're a lead and you have to, oversee so many projects in so many different technologies and environments, and you know that you're not the best at all of these, right?
Yes.
How do you interact with the people and, or, of course, empower them to, do the best they can?
That's a very good question. I guess it takes a lot of brain power to keep learning all the time, and it's trying to learn as much as possible, as quick as possible. I remember, I think it's here, we work with our friends in Remedy, the ones of Max Payne, etc. And we had to learn everything from scratch to work with them. And also...
Because the systems were different?
Yes, they were very different. But as we said before, it's a very it's very oriented to a team work, and helping each other makes things easier. So if there's someone who knows about that already, maybe you don't know specifically about animation in Unreal 5, but maybe you know a little bit about Unreal 5. So we talk and I learn from you, and that's exchange of information. Or since we're a big studio, like a Sumo Group or even Tencent, we exchange lots of information. So maybe I don't know, I'm pretty sure someone knows. So that's the process of learning and exchanging information and learning as much in the best way possible. As I say, it's impossible to learn and know everything, but you do your best. And maybe while someone else is doing something, you are still learning, trying new things. And also the technology changes. Like maybe there's something new and you need to learn it from scratch and no one knows about how to do it because it's never done before. So it's a constant learning process, and in the game industry it's always been like that. Doesn't matter what you do, if it's coding, art, whatever, always learning process, always.
One thing you just said, the technology changes a lot, and there's going to be a necessary question about AI and stuff like that.
It's fine.
What's your take on that? Is it helping you? Is it hindering your job? Is it taking away? Is it
AI specifically? Well, that's a really big topic, really complex, that we actually have active discussions in the whole business.
What's your feeling about it?
So my feeling about it, especially about animation, is what a good friend of mine, a really legendary animator, I would say, that he's been animating for decades. He started in 2D, he did 3D, now he works in games. And he said when motion capture appeared, at the beginning, I don't know, 20 years ago, 30, it was like, that's it. This is going to kill animation. It will change. Animators will go extinct because there's motion capture now. And that never happened. It just became a tool for a certain, as we were saying before, like you want very realistic characters, or in certain circumstances, you could use motion capture. Well, hopefully, and that's my take, I would say, it will happen the same with AI. It will become, especially for animation, a tool that you can use to improve your workflow, hopefully. Maybe that impacts the amount of animators you need, that you don't need as many, and that maybe so, maybe not, I don't know. But hopefully, and I think it will become just one more tool in our arsenal. Specifically animation. I don't know how will it affect, code, or how
art,
or 2D art.
2D or 3D,
That becomes a bit more problematic, but hopefully for animation become a useful tool.
My view is that we don't really know. It's like it's evolving so fast.
My guess is that.
But my feeling is that I don't like it very much. But I also know that we don't know enough about it to sort of form a proper opinion about it.
That's what I said. It's an ongoing discussion in the whole business and how to use it, what to use. Is it even legal? The legal consequences of having AI stuff. As you see, I think Instagram, YouTube, that you need to label that this is AI made. How does that work in a game? Do you actually own what AI created, and so on? So it's a very gray area for now, we are staying away from it. But I don't know what will happen in the future, and no one knows probably.
Of course. Next up, the peppers. How do you say pepperoni in Spanish?
I forgot now.
You have to go back home.
Yes, it's because it's speaking Italian at home often with my girlfriend. Speaking English at work, then Spanish. It's like everything becomes mixed.
Okay. Pepperone. Pepperone.
So I struggle as well, and my girlfriend gets angry with the double P's, etc. I just say pepperone. I really can't find the point where where's the mixture of the letters.
Marc, you have worked on many games.
Yes, a few. Yeah, especially with in Lab42, the way we do things, that we do many different games, is become at least something I like, trying working in many different games in many types, many ways. So yes, I work in a few different games.
And have you, I mean, before working at Lab, or did you do something like more indie, or what's your like progression?
Before it was worse. Well, depends on the animator. I didn't like it so much, which was more in the mobile world.
Okay.
There are many good mobile games out there, but the ones I was making, they were more like very simple, very. That many people like it. Yeah. The kind of game you would play in a mindless way, like waiting for the bus, which I didn't like so much because it's more limiting, as we were saying before, the technology. In a mobile game, you have less bones, you have simpler assets, so you don't have that degree of playing with the character, and there are those limitations. So before, it was mostly mobile games I worked on. But before, at the very beginning, I worked in advertisement and more like cinema. So there I had no limitations at all whatsoever, which is one of the difference between working in games and working in cinema or like pre-render stuff. That you can go crazy, have as many bones as you like, and less technical limitations. So I've done a little bit of everything in the end.
Okay, what is the thing that you are most proud of? Or can you name something, or is it anti your ethics to choose
it's not an ethics thing. It's maybe a personality thing that I don't have any. I like all of them. Like I enjoy.
All babies.
Yes. I enjoy all the projects, even if it's fishing game. It has its funny things because maybe you are working with fish and maybe it's fun, you never animated a fish. And then as an animator, you need to, I would say, it's all about being like an actor or lots of empathy, like how would a fish move? Or as we were saying before, stray, like what does a cat do? Like how they click themselves and wash, and how do they walk? And maybe now there's the snooker game, the pool game. How do you take the shot? It's a full science, like the poses to take the shot and how you put chalk in the cue and everything is like, and you learn this whole world of fishing, whatever now, shooting, weapons, how does the weapon work? Is it based on a model in real life? So that's why I like it so much, and that's why I like Lab42 in the sense that we do many different things. That gives you the chance of learning so many different things, which I like.
Well, one thing that I find fascinating sometimes reading through some comments is some art jobs, I don't know if yours is the same, so that's the question, is your work is more successful if you don't notice it in a way. So if it's so well done that you don't point out that it's, you know, good or not. How's it, I mean, is your work being noticed in games, or is it like very, you know, hidden in a way?
When it comes to animation, it's tricky because it's not like other arts. So you could look at a book, you read it, and I can ask you, is it good, is it bad, why? It can become very complex to be like a book critic. But animation, anyone can just look at it and say, this is awful. It feels weird, they can tell you what's wrong, but it doesn't feel right. So that's the complexity with animation. Like it takes years to be good at it. But anyone with zero experience, just because we're really good humans and telling movement and how things move, you can tell if the animation is good or bad. And if it's bad, that's when you were noticing and say, what's going on here? Why is this?
Did you have that in your career?
Well, of course. I would say we all animators had it at some point. It's hard to make really good animations. I would say it's an artist thing. We struggle to make good art. I mean, even if we make it, we are never sure about it.
Right. So we put it in the oven. We're opening a nice bottle of wine here.
Oh, nice.
Valpolicella Ripasso. Is there something you're working on that you can say that you would, or is it all secret? It's
always secret. That's the key question. Everything that is the latest thing is always a secret.
Okay.
But the sort of latest thing that we can actually know and talk about is right there, which is the Vampire the Masquerade.
Okay.
Which are the friends of the Chinese room. As I said, we are all part of the Sumo group, so we help each other. They are working on that actively right now. And it's getting closer. We know there's a really big fan base there, so we are all doing our best to have it beautiful, but we're getting there.
Well, Vampire is one of the most anticipated games out there, so
I know.
You've got a big responsibility.
Yes, that's also a thing that you know when you're working on something so loved and with a big fan base, you put a lot of extra care to make sure it's extra perfect, and the responsibility, the pressure.
Of course. So we're gonna pour some wine here, let it breathe a bit, and whilst our peppers are cooking.
Our beautiful baby. Okay. Thank you.
Teamwork. Okay.
Right
It
here.
looks good. Yeah, go for it. All right. So, Marc, I wanted to sort of, to cover more about the topic, but also to finish off this. You're working with a lot of people, right, around the world,
Yes.
and you're managing a lot of different projects.
Yes.
What are the difficulties in trying to make everything work, but also in the meantime, really being involved in the projects? Because you have to be involved in, deeply involved in the project. So,
well, it's as I said before, it's a very team-oriented work. So it's essential to grow that union. Cheers to our beautiful dish.
Yeah.
To foster a good teamwork, a good team place, and communication is very important, besides the project.
Yes.
And it's hard to do with many people working. Maybe some luckily are in the studio. We are not fully remote, we're hybrid. So that gives us the place to interact and spend time together, which makes a big difference. But even if you are working remotely, we do all sorts of events and things to come together and be a team. So once you get that, being involved in the project, it becomes something easier. That is just part of the environment of what you do. And trust me, that really makes a big difference when you see a team working a project that they are truly coordinated properly and communicating, and they're enjoying what they're doing, and they're enjoying doing it together. It makes a really big difference because it's all about the team. It's not something that you do on your own. So if you have a good relationship, at least like you know the person, makes everything much better and easier.
So recipe, teamwork.
Let's go.
All right, let's try this.
Pepperoncino. Let's see, because
That was good. You can take it home, and
no, we absolutely will, and I make it home as well.
thanks for staying with us, Marc. It was a pleasure, and good luck with your career.
Thank you very much, and hopefully I'll see you again then. Thank you.